I think we can start now ke? Few minutes.
Boleh, boleh, boleh. We will begin
Ah.
in 10 seconds.
Okay.
9, 8, 6.
Okay, silakan Amani.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Greetings to Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Greetings to our beloved lecturer, Dr. Faiz Ashraf bin Safaruddin, and to our honest speaker, Mr. Fadhirul Fitri Jamsari, CEO of OFO Tech Sdn Bhd. Welcome to Industrial Talk of Artificial Intelligence in Drone Industry. I am Nurul Salihah Amani binti Ibrahim, and I will be your master of ceremony for today. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. So let's start off with a little bit introduction on our background on our honor speaker, Mr. Fadhirul Fitri Jamsari. Mr. Fadhirul went to boarding school at MRC and has achieved all A's for SPM in 2004. After that, he further his study at International Education College INTEC for 2 years to gain his A-level. Then he went to in 2008, he went to Hochschule Helbron, Hochschule für Technik, Wissenschaft und Informatik, located in Germany, for 4 years to study bachelor degree in mechanical engineering. He then continued his master study in 2013. When he came back to Malaysia on 2015, he became a chief operating officer in OFO Tech, and a few years after, he was promoted to become chief executive officer as we see now. It is such a great achievement that we should take it as a role model to us. Now, we will introduce on OFO Tech Sdn Bhd. OFO Tech was founded in 2016 and it is a technology solution provider based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, specializing in unmanned aerial vehicles-based solution. Before we go further, let us watch an introduction video on OFO Tech. Okay, from the video, we can see that OFO Tech caters for engineering and industrial application in various industries, such as construction, agriculture, telecommunication, oil and gas, energy, and others. Not to mention, the company also has expanded their branch across the globe, such as Bangladesh, Indonesia, Romania as well. They also have won a few awards in the short period of company development, such as Malaysia Services Entrepreneur Company of the Year, Fast Moving Companies SME 100 Award in 2018, and also Malaysia UAV Services Company of the Year 2019. OFO Tech also provide professional services various organizations organizations such as Petronas, PM, Repsol, Iskandar Malaysia, and welcome Mr. to talk about intelligence in drone industry.
Hello.
Hello.
That's all, is it? Oh,
Director dah? Yes.
yeah, okay,
I'm done.
alright. Okay, tak ada masalah, tak ada masalah. Okay, don't worry. Okay, no worries. Okay, Assalamualaikum, selamat petang semua everyone. Sorry for the delay and the technical issue on my part mainly. So basically right now I'm opening two computers, one as a speaker and one as a screen sharing. So maybe I will share my screen for a better presentation. I hope everyone is in good health since the COVID and also the banjir time right now. The flooding is everywhere. So please take care and oh, sorry. Maybe I'll just share my window or tab or entire screen. Location. So I think everyone can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Alright. Okay, so I won't take much time. Maybe the time given was about 1 hour. So I will share a bit on the topic was given in application of AI in drone industry. But before that, may I know a bit of the background of my audience right now? Is this a class for artificial intelligence or what? What is it actually?
Okay, Mr. Fadhirul. So basically, the majority of the audience right now is, I think, third year students and final year students taking the subject of artificial intelligence lah. Basically, the subject is introduction lah to the artificial intelligence, and this session is part of their projects lah. In order to gather industrial insights on application of artificial intelligence. So that's why we invite Mr. Fadhirul Fitri for sharing the view lah for industry. So I hope the students can get the insight and provide the report lah on the sharing today. And these students is mixed, Mr. Fadhirul. They have background in power control, in electrical power, in automation, and also majority is from communication and computing and communication students. So all of them are electrical students lah. Tapi dia punya pengkhususannya macam yang tadi tu.
Okay. Alright, understand. Alright, thank you for the intro so that I know the background a bit actually.
You're welcome.
So basically, my session will be quite general. So basically, I will share to you all on the current application of artificial intelligence in not really in drone industry, but in industry itself. But what we did in this company actually. So just real quick of OFO Tech, I think already explained by I think who's explaining that previously, Miss Saliha, I think, about the company in a bit. So basically, it's correct. So we are actually a US solution provider, but right now focusing in Geo AI solutions, which means that we are actually giving a solution with combination of geographical information with AI interface. So basically, we have quite experience in industrial like infrastructure, plantations, environmental and others, mainly in engineering solutions, using drones and also other solutions like normal camera and so on. So I will just go real quick. So our HQ is in KL, in Masa Maju. So we have branches in Sabah, Sarawak, Jakarta, and also in spending in outside of Malaysia, Romania and Bangladesh. But since COVID time right now, so we have to like stay in KL for a while. Hopefully everything will be back to normal. So track record will be in different sectors. Something happened with the typo here, but never mind. So actually we have solution in various sectors, in agriculture, in energy and infrastructure and all. So we have quite different solution for different industry. So right now we're focusing on infrastructures a lot and also constructions, but not left with the other industries too. So next was recognition, I think already explained previously. So just keep repeat this one too, and media and so on. So basically the main services that we did is actually consists of four elements. Basically the first one would be on data acquisition. Data acquisition is like when you capture data. Previously we are using drones. We are still using drones, but right now we are exploring in various platforms like helicopters, planes, using different sensors, using like laser, using like multi-spectral cameras and so on. So there are a lot of sensors out there. So actually data acquisition is just a method of collecting data using various sensors and using various platforms. Even you can collect data with phones, CCTVs, even like collecting data from the public and so on. So everything about data is done by the first stage actually. So after that we'll process the data to give various output. Maybe I'll share that later. So processing data involving like we have a lot of work with images and videos. So we process the images and videos data to produce various outputs that can be used in industrial applications, in engineering, design, and so on. So, and then after that we will like do the analytics of that data to give a different output, like flood analysis, even slope analysis, tree counting, and so on. So this is where all the AI stuff come in, and to help us actually speed up the process, because previously we did provide all the analytics using humans, but right now we try to automate the whole things, and finally we will produce all the data in a web-based platform, in a mobile apps and so on, so that our clients can view the data in a proper way, and even the data will be managed properly. So that's the whole thing that we did in this company. So back to the solutions, maybe in general, what we did actually, we provide a lot of maps to the clients, like 2D maps, 3D maps, and so on, in various industries and so on. For example, here is a small one in agriculture, in plantation, in states, in city management, and so on, and in like forestry and so on. So basically, you can imagine like a 2D map of Google, but in higher resolutions, and even you can see like really close up pictures. Compared to Google, you cannot see anything, of course. So and then we produce all the topography, all the like surface model and so on. This is just a general information to you all that what we did to serve our clients, so that we later I will share you the problem and why we use AI to solve the problems, and 3D modeling and so on. So basically, I can produce a 3D reality model in the computer, so that our client doesn't have to go to ground, even measure. So everything will be done through like computers and software. This is also all the application in oil and gas. We produce a 3D model of the like the oil rig platform and so on. In general, in drone inspection, where we inspect by using drone, we inspect the top parts, all the structures, and from there you can see a lot of cracks, even corrosions and so on. So usually we will get, after one inspection, usually we have like thousands of images, 10,000 or even more. So previously engineers have to look one by one of the images and see what's the issue and so on. And right now we are using AI to automate the process, that's how AI can help the industries. And then even in telecommunication inspection, usually we inspect the telco tower by using drones and fly. Conventionally, people have to climb up and do the manual measurement, manual checking, and so on. Usually, one tower will take about like 2 or 3 days. By using drones, it will only take like 20 minutes to settle the inspection phase. So that's how the technology can help in industry applications. And then, so the problem is conventional methods will require a lot of time. So you have human to cover the areas. For example, if you want to like count trees of palm oil, so there's a lot of areas you have to cover. So right now we are using drones to cover the areas. And the second problem will be the data accuracy. So if you use a normal GPS or even on ground, you take the location, usually you will the accuracy will lose about 5 meters, 10 meters, and so on. So the data cannot be used for design phase. So right now we are using a high resolution GPS and also combining with surveillance method to get the higher accuracy. And then in terms of data accuracy also, if you are using human to count trees, for example, it will take a lot of time. And even it's not accurate, I will share my experience later, what type of accuracy is that. And then in terms of safety, you have to put men on the ground, and there is a risk on human usually. Even conventionally, people are using helicopters, and even in a few months back, we have heard a lot of crashes of helicopters where melibatkan orang lah, human punya risk kan. So right now we are using machine. So even machine crash doesn't affect human, just affect your money. So but then human will be safe actually. So last but not least, the cost will previous method will give cost higher because you have to use a lot of men to get the same result as using machines. So that's the current problem, that the previous problem that was faced by most of the people in the industries. So right now, by using machine learning, I will share directly right away on the application for specific in drones, or even not in drones applications, but in various applications. So for example, right now, when we did samples of to detect corrosions and defects, previously, like all same inspection phases, we have to fly drones and snap a lot of videos and pictures. You can imagine like you have a lot of folders of images, and then you give your engineers to view one by one, and then they will categorize the whole thing, where is the crack, where is the corrosion and stuff. And then they will have to copy the whole thing and then put on Excel or even on like words, reports and so on, and then generate reports. So the process will take about, when you do inspection like today, your manager will get the report like maybe in a week or in 5 to 7 days, usually after the analysis and so on. So it will consume time, and to repair the whole thing will take another time. So by using AI, it can be automated depending on the phase. Of course, you have to train the AI and stuff, but the data need to be collected, and sample of normal AI detection of corrosions in pipeline will be something like this. But what we did is after detection, we built the online platform where everything will be automated to generate reports and so on. So we managed to cut the time by pretty much a lot. So compared to like 7 days, this one we can produce a report maybe in like 1 hour after the inspection, after you upload the data, and then the whole process will be automated and produce a report depending on the specification of the clients. So that's how big the benefit of artificial intelligence. But this one is mainly on image based. So basically, there's a lot of branches in machine learning in general, but our focus will be on images and also videos. So this is the example of pipeline inspections using AI to detect corrosions. And here is almost similar thing, but for building applications. So one of the advantage of using drones also, you don't have to shut down the operation. Usually you can continue the work and the drone will not disturb you. Previously, maybe when you install solar panel, when you want to do inspection of building, maybe the solar panel people cannot come up and do their work. They have to shut down a bit and then let the inspection team work first, and then they have to, and then they can continue their work. So right now, by using drones, you can like fly and do not disturb the process. So that's really important, mainly in oil and gas application, where when you shut down, like one day, it will cost millions of dollars. So that's where the drone application will play a major role. And then next example would be on AI for tree counts. We have a lot of clients in the oil palm industry, where previously we map the oil palm and then manually count the trees. That's one of the specification, because let me share to you my experience where we did for a small area like 500 hectares of oil palm. So the manager approached me and my team, and he said, I was trying to count the trees for the past 2 years using humans, where he imported his workers to count manually by row and each of the trees. And he found that it's quite hard to get an accurate data because some of the area is inaccessible. And even they count like in average, like they count like row times column, something like that. Maybe in a row like 10 pieces of trees, and then they like simply multiply to the count of rows and so on. And it's not accurate. So what we did, we mapped the plantation. In just 2 days, we managed to get the counts compared to 2 years that they tried to count. And even we can provide all the information, like really from the aerial perspective. We digitize every trees and so on. So and the count was done by AI and yeah. So we managed to like automate the process. That's how AI can be benefit in industry applications. And this is another solution by us. This is a new one that we developed during the MCO last year. So basically, I think you guys have heard all the issues regarding the potholes recently and so on. So this is the difference, not from drones, but we managed to provide solution using different cameras, actually from the dash cam itself. So we put AI into the dash cam and so on to detect issues like potholes, surface crack, and a lot of damages roads, like guardrail damage and so on. So this is sample from drones, where when you fly drones and then you can automatically detect potholes, road damages, depending on the requirement of the system. Right now, the client request to detect pothole and stuff. So we developed this one to detect automatically pothole. Conventional method would be driving cars, and then when they see pothole, they stop and then they take pictures and then get back to the office, and then like always manual report through Excel and even words and so on. So this is just a simple example of how AI can benefit. So basically right now the process will be different, where the drivers can just drive all the way, and then everything will be automatically through the system, and they can auto-generate report when they get back to the office. So the process will be like really fast. Even it will be a lot faster when we have a 5G later. So the technology is there. We just have to be like creative how to use the solutions. So right now everything is automated. So the workers right now doesn't have to stop anymore. They can like just go around with their cars and do their normal work while collecting the data, and the data will be analyzed and automatically produce reports in like right away. So that's how AI can help in the industrial applications, even in health application and so on. So, for example, in health and safety, we develop like AI detection for like safety PPE applications in industry. Like these people did not wear vest, jacket, or even not wear gloves and so on. So this one can be implemented through the CCTV video feeds and so on. Doesn't have to be drones actually. So drones is just a tools or just a platform to carry a camera. So any cameras will do depending on the applications and so on. So this one AI for safety, and this one is a typical AI for like person count or like you. I think this one most of the, if you are aware of the market, I think there's a lot of sample regarding people count entering mall and so on. But what is important is behind that the data itself. So actually the mall can know how many people are entering, what time is it, when is the best to like put up sales, for example, if they are using the data well. So how many women come in, how many men, how many children, and so on. So based on data, there's a lot of things can be done to boost up the market, for example, and depend on the analytic part. So that's how AI can be used. So basically, it's about data actually. It's not really about like the boxes or the fancy like AI detection. So actually, after you collect data, what can be done with the data? That's the most important thing. For example, that I shared previously on the road maintenance. So once they detect, they will know like we can know like how many resources should we deploy to repair the roads, for example, and others. So basically, it's about collecting data and how to like optimize the process. So, for example, here vehicle count and so on. This is more on the smart city applications. Usually, from the vehicle count itself, we can count estimation for like carbon emissions, so that you can see the city is green or not, and then you can see a lot of information such as what's more, how many. Usually, in a city, they have a limit of how many cars should it be, and to implement the electrical vehicle in the future and so on, so they can estimate the market, how many cars in that city itself, how to sell car, for example, and so on. So basically, this is a sample of AI detection for like type of vehicle and so on for smart city applications. And then we have also like AI for intrusions, where you can set boundaries, and when people came into the area, it will notify you or even give warnings on. And then last but not least, we put everything on web, where the detection will automatically came from the web base and so on, so you can access through phone and so on. Right now all the system being done in-house, so by our programmers and so on. So you can imagine it's like the intelligent system where everything will be pop up through the dashboard and so on. So yeah, so in general everything will be automated, and of course not an easy process, but the output is really benefit to industry. So right now there's a lot of industries are going into the direction where everything they want to be in automatic, and of course the data will need to be accurate and so on. So yeah, so this one is our MVs. It's a solution for road maintenance, where right now it's being used in Selangor and other states also. So now we are trying to, so actually the main detection will be on potholes, surface crack. We detect all the damages like guardrail damages on the highway, animals, accidents. There's a lot more which I cannot share with all of you because of the confidentiality and so on. But right now the system has been used, and this is one of the applications. And of course, there's a lot more, like all the detection that we did for PPE and stuff also will be on web and so on. So yeah, I think in general that's the applications that right now being used by our company. But of course, there's a lot more, like in AI itself. In AI itself, there's a lot of applications in like stock market prediction, even sales predictions, and like COVID analytic and so on, all the predictions of the statistic based. But our companies are focused on image based and video based solutions. Yeah. So basically, that's in general for the brief presentation of the industry's applications in AI. So if there is any questions, I will prefer to answer questions instead of like talking alone. Yes.
Okay, thank you to Mr. Fadhirul Fitri.
Yeah.
I believe that we have a few questions. So the first question is, how can AI detect the flood problem? I think which maybe more on the how the algorithm works and the language used, all that.
Okay. Okay. So basically, usually what we did, we are not like providing solution like out of the blue. Like typically, like suddenly I was usually the solution that we provide is based on the client requirement. So basically, the client will give a problem statement. Like for example, this one, I have a flood problem. So how can you solve it? For example, I just give a example like example. So it doesn't have to be AI for the whole thing. So right now, everyone like mentioning AI, but not everything can be solved by AI. So I hope it's not a misconception in everyone, because AI is usually a tools that when you previously using human, but you want to replace human to do that all the hasty work, like repetitive work and so on. So that's where AI can be used for. But for flood problem, in my opinion, the analysis will be different, where you have to use aerial imagery like a map, or even like a satellite map-based solution, where you need to compare topography, and from there you can see like the topographic of the area, and then you can run simulation of flood, and then from there you will see if the rain's falling certain volume amount, how bad will the flood be, and for example, and even you can do analysis like how big we need to widen the rivers and so on. So for me, myself, I will not using AI for flood problem, because I think it's more on analytic on like geographical information system analysis. So this is where all the analysis will be done based on geographic. So if you can imagine, if you can we can get a 3D model of city, for example, in Kuala Lumpur, for example, and then we can run the simulation of flood, and you can see how the water rise based on the 3D model. So, and then from there we can plan where we can like find areas how to improve the city in general. So actually we did this kind of studies in I think in Negeri Sembilan back then. So to plan how big the river need to be widened so that the area is not flood anymore. So it's more on the analytic base. But if you want to do AI, it will be, I think it's quite hard unless you have like a lot of cameras in the city, and you can detect like automatically if the water is rise certain area. But usually right now there's a lot of sensors anyway, like IoT sensors and so on, where you put the sensors on river, when you see it's already up, and then you can give a warning and so on. So maybe different solution might be more efficient in this case. All right.
Okay.
Correct. Interesting. Cool.
Next question is from Muhammad Akmal. He want to know how much accuracy is accepted for the system that so that it can be globally.
Okay. So the accuracy is for a deliverable to a complete system to the client globally. Usually we are talking about 90 to 95% accuracy, and the higher is better. So because AI is currently it's not like AI cannot replace human. So basically, actually AI is helping human actually. So can you imagine after the detection, there has to be a human validation as well. So you cannot automatically rely 100% on AI. Yet, I'm not sure in 5 or 10 years later how the AI will be used for. But right now, you still need human to validate or to verify the data. But the machine already help you in a lot of time. So actually, it's already help you in the pre-processing part where everything will be analyzed and will feed to you for you to like simple analysis. For example, to detect is the detection correct or not. But usually AI programming, AI modeling usually take a few phases where after you develop one model, you cannot like just stick with that model. You need to improve from time to time. So based on the data collection, you have to improve the model and then improve again until it will get the best output. So usually, in my opinion, 90 to 95% would be okay, but if higher would be much better.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Mr. Fadhirul, and thank you also to Muhammad for questioning for the question. Next is a question from Najib Ramli. He asked how the program for AI is being used to fit customer.
Oh, okay. So, firstly, of course, we have to find the specific customer and also to find the problem for that specific customer first. And then from there, we have to think if the solution is feasible by AI or like there is other solutions. That's the first thing. So because not everything can be done through AI, maybe there's a more intelligent way like IoT device and so on. And then
so
from
the program of is being
Yep, not clear. Can you repeat? Mute.
sorry.
Okay. Apa tadi?
I'm sorry, my internet having some problem. Okay. The next question is from Azira Hanim binti Akasha. Assalamualaikum sir. I have a question. Why is the first step of finding solution to implement AI for a situation?
Okay. So I think I will add after my explanation before this. So the first step will be to find the problem first, and then the second one will be to study if the solution can be done through AI, and then the third one you have to find which is the best model to be used. So because there's a lot of framework out there, you have to choose if the detection need to be live. You have to use certain models, or if you want to detection to be accurate, and then you have to use a different model and so on. So there's a lot of test and error over there. And then before the test and error, of course, you have to collect all the data first, based on the problem. For example, I don't know if you want to detect what? I'm not sure. So actually, you have to have a lot of data, and then then you have to like filter the data, organize the data. That's the whole process actually. There's a lot of time where you spend on the data. Like mostly 80% of it, you will like have to view the data and the sort, and then optimize it before you train. So training is not really hard. I mean, like not really a big one. And then after you train, later will be on the optimization of the model and how you want to implement on the system. So actually, if you have just a AI brain, so you cannot do anything. You have to build like body and then hands, and that's where all the like mobile app, all the web-based solutions came in. Because without that, it would be not much of a use actually. So yeah. So I think that's the whole like in general structures of all the AI implementations. So yeah. Yeah. Yes. Correct. Correct. So actually, in any case, before you build something, you have to know the problem first. So you don't just build and then hopefully somebody will like buy your solution. So it will be best to you guys to get the problem first lah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. Oh, okay. 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 Sure. Boleh, boleh. Don't worry. I charge
Maybe
a
we
bit.
can discuss.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Okay. Don't worry, don't worry. I'm going to have students, don't worry. That's why I'm having this session with everyone, uh, of the contribution I can give.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fadhirul. The next question is from Hashimah binti Muhammad Mustafa. How many departments are needed in a damage recognition, like the example given just now, in the scope of manpower needed?
Okay. Okay, so basically, okay, good question in this part. So basically, to develop solutions like that, we have a few teams need to be work together. So, for example, for the AI engineer, we need about 2 to 3%, and then we have data analytics or data analysis where the task will be on like filtering the data and so on, of thousand of or even 100,000 of images and so on. There's about 5 to 6 people. Actually, the amount of people depend on the timeline. So basically, if you have 1 year timeline, then of course you need less people compared to like if the timeline is 1 or 2 months. So and then there's data analytic team, and then the AI team where it will be trained, and then optimization done by the AI engineers. And then later we have a web developer, front end, back end, like 3 to 5 persons to like make the data through webs and mobiles. All the integration will be done through all this team actually. So maybe around like 7 to 10 persons to develop one system.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fadhirul. Speaking of manpower, does OFO Tech support their employees to further studies while working in the company? Do you support your employees to work while working on the company?
Oh, of course, we support the employee to further studies and so on. Don't worry. Yeah.
Next question is from Navishwaran Nagulan. Hello, sir. How fast pothole will be solved?
How fast pothole will be solved? How fast? Okay. All right. To answer the question, okay, right now our system is helping the authorities to detect pothole. So usually, when you like drive the cars and through the pothole, within 10 seconds to 15 seconds, you will get the updates lah, the latest detections. But the question is how fast the authorities can react on that. So that's a different story. So right now we can help the detection really fast, but if the authority is taking time to solve the problem, then it will be like much longer. So right now what we did is we did a system where once detected, we will create some kind of like a open task lah for the authorities to like, and the manager can see, oh, there's something wrong here, and then they can plan really fast on solving. So compared to before, it will take about 2 days and so on. Right now, they are trying to like less than 12 hours to like repairs the road and so on. So yeah. Correct. So,
Thank you. Next question is, can machine learning use in satellite communication?
Using satellite communication, Using satellite communication. Oh, what's the meaning of this? Let me think. Let me think. Uh, Betul. But, yeah. Machine learning communication. Oh, maybe. I think it can be used if maybe in satellite communication you have like issues in sorting data and so on, and then you can use machine learning. But if you want to use machine learning as a like a robot to communicate to satellites, maybe yes, like a Siri and stuff, but maybe not really intelligent. I mean, like not really safe kot nak pakai robot like so, yeah, good. Maybe positioning maybe boleh. Yeah, correct. But cannot lah bila robot untuk communicate dengan like astronaut and so on and to define the route and so on. Maybe it's quite dangerous ke apa kan for communication. Takut miscommunicate lah nanti robot tu.
Okay, next question is about 5G. Jidan Berry asking, what will happen when someday the 5G services crash for a few days, and how will the industry can take the data if there is no connection to the camera and to other sensors?
Okay, cool. Okay, so 5G is similar like 4Gs, I think, not like similar, like the upgrade of 4Gs. Right now, if you don't have 4Gs, what will happen to your phone? You will get the 3G. And then it will be missing, and then you get 2G. So actually, the previous version will not like disappear. So in this case, if 5G is gone, then you can get the 4G data. So I think in the future, when 5G already implemented for the whole nation, but right now, maybe in 2023, I think the earliest anyway. Because Malaysia right now still in 4G, we are still like try to accommodate, even facilitate 4G, and tiba-tiba 5G keluar, so they don't want to like replace 4G right away. So we will take time to like upgrade to 5G. But 5G maybe in the city first and then come to the outskirts city. But to answer the question, I would say once the 5G is crashed or the system down, the 4G will be still available. But maybe not fast as a 5G of course. But I think we can live with it for a few hours and so on until the 5G get back on.
We still have 4G as our backup, okay?
Yes, correct.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm. Correct. Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So yes, correct. If there is no internet, the data will be stored, and once the internet are back, and the data will be uploaded.
Okay.
So we can
Thank you
use
for
that.
thank you for the answer. And next is from Nisa Yasmin. Hello, sir. Other than detecting problems using AI drones, is your company planning on making drones for sending medical suppliers and stuff like that for emergency situations?
Okay. Okay. Good questions. Uh, okay. To answer this one, of course, we have a lot of land. So basically, there's a lot of things can be done. You know, sending emergencies or even other applications. But when you manage a company, you have to focus on certain things that you are expert in. So of course you can do a lot of things, provided a lot of monies, but and even capitals. So we are quite interested on the sending medicals using drones and so on. But in Malaysia right now, I think this application will be quite a challenge due to the restriction of authorities and agencies so on. So Malaysia are quite strict on the permit application and so on. So to do this in the city area, for example, is maybe it's a challenge because you can imagine KL, there's a lot of helicopters every day flying around. So it can be done, of course, technology-wise, yes. But the challenge will be on the authorities and also the management of the air traffic, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, I hope that one day that we can implement
Yeah, hopefully
the
one day.
idea freely once
Yes.
the authorities allow it.
But actually, this application has been done in Africa and so on. So they are using drones to supply to the outskirt area. Um, yeah, because they have that problem real seriously. So
Yes.
kita mungkin kat KL ni like maybe kita agak laju je kan. So maybe nak pakai drones maybe mahal ke apa kan. Of course lah, of course lah. Ada demand, of course we will sell lah. Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Next is from Fatihah Fatin. Uh, if there any inaccuracy or problem on AI system, which aspect that should be improved so that the information will be more accurate? For
Okay.
example, for the pothole.
Alright, cool. Good question for AI student. Ni memang AI student ni, Nur Fatihah ni. Cik. So, okay, to improve accuracy, usually you have to like, there's a lot of method. One of it would be make your input data various, because AI is based on the input data. So, rubbish in, rubbish out actually. So you have to look back the input data or even add new data that doesn't have That was not the same as previously. So of course, and then there's a method where you can augment the data, like rotate, even turn everything upside down and so on to make the data more various. And then that's actually the main will be on the input. So you have to filter back the input, find the different data, give different augmentation data to the AI system when you teach a new model. So that's how you improve in one of the way how to improve the data. I think will be on the biggest step will be that one.
Okay, thank you.
I hope you guys can understand that one.
I think that to make the information to improve the information, there is much more other ways than, but in general is what you explained earlier. But there is more other ways to do it.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Next question is again from Navishwaran. Drones are being improved in many different ways according to the applications. Perhaps what are the power electronic improvement that can be done in system of the drones in the future?
Okay, power electronics. One will be on the batteries, I would say. So right now the limitation of drones will be on battery base. So most of the drones right now flying using batteries. And the flight time will be depend on the batteries technology, I would say. And so if we can improve the batteries capacities and efficiency, it will be much better in the future. But actually the battery technology depend on the electrical vehicle technologies. So if the electrical vehicle technology in batteries will improve, then I would say the drones industry will be improved further, because all the batteries will be done research by, I would say, electric vehicle team mostly. And in terms of power electronics parts, would be to integrate all the components in maybe one board, or to make it more simpler in one board. Maybe it will reduce the weight and so on. So electric powers, that's, I think, the main part of the drones will be on the weight. So if you can reduce the motor size, or even reduce the motor size but generate the same power or even more, and also maybe we can reduce all the component size and so on, so that the weight will be reduced. And then of course the brain itself for the drones also need to be improved. The much faster you can load, the much you can process, be more advantage to the applications. I think that's one of the solutions. Also, one of the improvements, certain improvements can be done in power electronics.
Okay. Thank you. Next question is from Sarah Nur Shahira. For a student, what key knowledge or skills should we equip ourselves in order to succeed in the field of AI? Key knowledge.
Oh, ini okay. This question is the question of the day ini.
Question of the day.
Ni the best question so far. Boleh. Okay, as a student, okay, ni kalau everyone can take note ni bagus ni. I bagi tips terus lah. Betul, ni interview ni sebab I see a lot of applications, mainly for job and so on, but there's a lot of lack of certain things that industries are looking for. So actually, as a student, what you can do, if you want to get involved in AI or even in programming field or even different fields, please explore and build your own project. So basically, during your free time, like a weekend or so on, do something else, like learn something else. Produce your own portfolio, like a GitHub, for example. learn about AI, and not just learn the YouTube and then okay, I'm finished, I'm already unlocked the skill. No, once you learn on the maybe there's a lot of online classes over there, and actually online classes is just a basic to understanding the things. What you need to do is you build a sample project. Like there's a lot of sample project online also, but don't just follow. But after you follow, just repeat the process. Even try to build your own self. Try to understand the fundamental and so on. And in your resume, please put that. Please put your GitHub or your portfolio and so on, because companies will love to see your own project. Because what we see right now is a lot of applications, mainly really surface, and everything is about what they learn on university, maybe all the like syllabus and so on. So there's a lot of application like that. So what we look is someone that has a like initiative, or maybe like adding points where they try to like explore by themselves instead of following all the city university. So I would say to get involved in AI as a student would be try to learn all the AI application. You doesn't have to be an expert, of course, but all the general information about AI, all the like convolutional neural network, how it works, and then what is the different methodology, for example, and how to like and try to explore a lot of samples and do by your own and build your own portfolio. Yeah, that will be your like advantage in the future actually.
Okay, that is valuable tips from Dr. Fadhirul Fitri. I hope that Siti Sarah and others can take note on the tips that has been given.
Yeah, betul.
Okay, next question is from Kazim bin Hussein. Assalamualaikum, sir. I would like to ask, how could AI help Malaysia's defense, such as border conflict near Thailand recently?
Oh, okay. Okay, this one I cannot really answer it because I need to know the problem first, because I'm not sure about the problem in the borders. Maybe they want to detect like I'm not sure what illegal ship ke apa I'm quite not sure right now what is the main problem in the defense mainly. Maybe for like surveillance, of course, can use drones to fly and like monitor or survey. But in terms of detecting, like maybe you want to like automatically detect pirates, will be maybe not applicable. I think maybe not possible yet, because you cannot like simply like fly over a ship and then this is pirate, this is not pirate. So yeah. So I'm sorry about that because I cannot really answer the right to the right direction because I'm not sure of the problem statements here.
Okay, maybe Kazim can recognize more about the conflict so that Mr. Fadhirul can answer later. Next is from Safi bin Abdullah. Hello, sir. After the pothole has been recognized, the data will be saved and stored for system to use the data next time, or the system will try to detect it next time for the same pothole position. Okay. After
next time, or the system will try to detect it. Okay, so actually we will store the data, of course, and then maybe we will use it for improving the AI model, and also it will not detect the same pothole again for the next day, for example, because what we did is you have to repair first, and then until you not repair that things, it won't detect again. So it will not have a redundancy of the pothole actually.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Next is from Muhammad Afi bin Azim. Which programming language are commonly used in development of AI programs?
Okay, programming language usually used for mana?
AI program.
Programming usually we use Python. There's a lot of language, PyTorch, Pythons, and all the frameworks, TensorFlow frameworks, and so on. But the main thing is it's not about the program language. It's about what is you can use any kind of language, even C++ and so on. But the main thing is how you build the model itself. Yeah.
The main thing is about the algorithm.
Yes, correct. Algorithm. It's not about the language. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next is from Muhammad Daniel. We aware that AI is machine learning, where it learns based on experience on how the environment behaves. My question is, can AI predict a future outcome in any given scenario?
Oh, okay. Oh, ni dah jadi tukang ni apa namanya?
Tukang.
Bomo. Apa namanya tu? Tarot card punya predictor ni. Okay. Okay, can AI predict future? Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes. Yes, I would say it can predict the future, but but you need to validate the data lah. So I'll give you example of like a stock predictions. So right now there's a lot of stock predictions by using AI. So based on the previous data, maybe the last 10 years data of stocks, for example, the market share of a certain company and so on. So what the companies did, they try to train the model based on the data and then predict for the next 3 days how the share will be. Maybe it will go up, down, for example, and so on. So actually, yes, you can predict for the past 3 days, even 5 days, and 30 days, and so on. But in terms of stock, for example, it depends on the human. The accuracy will not like really accurate because you just predict the graph trend. So what left is actually the social informations like how the company get the project, for example, or maybe how the economies of the countries affect the model. So right now the model is just based on purely on the data of charts. You can predict, but right now you have to put different parameters like from the social media, for example, from the market crash, or maybe political influences, then economical influences, and also and so on. So that's on predicting the future lah. So basically, that's the limitation I would say on AI. But I don't think AI can predict the future kot. Sebab nobody can predict the future anyway. It's already confirmed lah. Tak ada siapa boleh predict future kot. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next is from Ho Zika. I would like to ask, can it be possible if image processing is installed on AI drone with 5G as to identify backcrops or trees counting with a higher resolution imagery?
Yeah, of course. Yes, correct. Boleh. So basically, once the better input you give, the better result you will get. And of course, you can implement like small microcontroller with AI capable with drones to like detect right away of the backdrops and so on. But then the question will be on like the applications itself. So basically, in general AI, just a broad area. Usually, you have two types of, I would say, general application lah in industry. One, you have to ask, do you really need to detect like right away, like live right away, and how critical will it need? For example, in detecting bad crops, do you really need to detect like on that spot, or maybe you can just collect data and get to the office and then the analysis? How will it affect it? For example, in this case, AI for bad crops. If you detect it right away, so do you like right away make the crops healthy, or maybe you take time also, like because crops cannot be like right away, but is it urgent to like repair the crops, or maybe it can take time and so on, because this will affect all the process. So depending, for example, if you detect cracks in certain industries, yes, you have to detect right away, and then they have to like repairs and stuff. But for crops, I would say, in my opinion, it will not really need like live detections. I would say it's about like monthly inspections and so on. So when you do like a crop analysis, and then that way you come up with a result, and then put better vegetation and so on, better fertilization and so on. So it depends on the application. Do you need to detect it right away, or maybe you have to optimize the process and so on? Yeah. But to detect the crops right away, of course, it can be done.
So I believe that it depends on the severity of the situation. If it needs to be solved right away, it needs we can apply AI and 5G to that, so that it can be solved immediately to avoid any further issue.
Yes, correct. So if you build AI drones, you have to put a lot of devices up there. So it will affect your flying time and so on. So it might not be efficient, or yeah, you have to consider you need the flight time, or you need to build heavy drones to like the AI life. But yeah, so this is depend on the application.
Okay, thank you. One last question is from Muhammad Afi. And one last question is from Muhammad Nasri. How long for the drone to cover large areas such as plantation?
Oh, okay. So for large area plantation, usually we are using a fixed wing type of drones, where the drone can fly up to like 3 hours, 2 hours flight time. So it can coverage area will actually depend on the how high you fly. So it can be really, really big because it fly 2 to 3 hours flight times. But if you are using a small drones like a small multi-rotors, which can fly like 20 minutes to 30 minutes, it can maybe cover up to maybe like 100 hectares per flight, something like that. Depending on the height. Yeah.
Okay, I believe that that's all the question from the students. Thank you to Mr. Fadhirul for
Alright,
sharing
welcome.
the
Welcome.
valuable knowledge for us that
Sure,
we
sure.
can use in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. On yes, yeah. So, basically. So sambil-sambil tunggu tu, so actually we are open for internship, and even vacancy for like if anyone like want to do internship to the companies and so on. All years we are open, so just apply through the website. I think there's an email and so on. So if you are interested to do industrial training and so on, we are really open for students, but not 100% accepted lah. But then you can try apply lah. Good. Oh, lecturer pun boleh juga kalau nak tukar tempat. Oh, okay, okay, faham. Yang mana ni? Sabbatical eh? Oh, boleh, boleh. Boleh. Oh, InsyaAllah. Boleh tu. Kita open je for discussion with the lecturers and students. Itulah. Kita pun mencari juga yang talent. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Boleh, boleh. Hmm. Mantap lah. Betul, betul. Hmm. Correct. Hmm. Betul. Betul. Hmm. 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 Betul, betul. Bagus soalan tu. Correct, correct. Betul. Hmm. So lah, like I said lah, you try to explore different things lah, other than your studies lah, go actually try to to build something, make something that can be useful lah, go, other than like belajar. I mean belajar tu penting lah, of course lah, you study all the exam and so on, but try to explore different things lah. Hmm. Input eh. Hmm. 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 Yes. Betul. Hmm. 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 Tu lah kena buat something. Hmm. Hmm. Yalah, betul. Betul. Ya. Betul. Betul. Sebab saya perasan banyak sekarang, generasi sekarang ni, dia weekend dia spend on like games and then like I'm not sure benda-benda lain lah kan. So I think it's a waste lah. If you guys can build your own portfolio, will be advantage lah in the future. Hmm. Tu lah. Benda tu macam, yeah, I mean, of course, you can play games and so on, but try to limit your. Hmm. Betul. It's fun lah. Oh, ada. Kita ada solution AI juga. Yes, correct. Hmm. So, berapa kali start. Ada je, but AR, VR ni usually is a add-on advantage je lah, for better presentation and so on, because there is lack of analytic can be done. But the beauty of it is you have a immersive, I would say, immersive experience compared to like on computers and so on. Even into to show your stakeholders and so on pun really nice juga. Hmm. Hmm. Biasa AR pun biasa orang buat untuk training for example kan. Hmm. Benda-benda macam tu lah. Hmm. It's quite understandable lah. Masa saya jadi film pun saya tak tahu benda ni. Ah, so, hmm. Yes, correct. Correct. Betul. Yeah, Germany usually they are sharing between industries and universities. That's why I open in any university. So actually, I've been talking to a lot of universities. When somebody asks me to like share information, I will spend my time to the university. Don't worry. Based on my experience anyway. So that's yeah. Hopefully my input will be beneficial to the students. There were 57 people like today. So lah. Hmm. Okay. Ada question ke nak tanya? InsyaAllah. Hmm. Oh, okay. Tak worry. Tak worry.
Okay, okay doktor. Sebenarnya saya pun nak pass untuk doktor sebagai kita dah sampai ke penghujung.
Yang rancangan
I will pass to Dr. Faiz back for the closing speech. Okay.
Hmm. Betul. Mhm. Hmm. Sama. Boleh, boleh. InsyaAllah, insyaAllah. Boleh, boleh. Tak ada, tak ada. Saya booking dengan UTHM. Alright. Okay, insyaAllah. Good luck semua. All the best.
Okay. Okay.
Alright. No problem, no problem.
Thank you to Mr. Fadhirul Fitri, and thank you also for everyone for giving your time in this event. We truly appreciate it. On behalf of the organizing committees, I would like to apologize if we have done any mistake throughout the event. For the student, please remember to fill in your attendance. We will give link at the comment section. I end my duty as Master of Ceremony for today's event with wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye everyone. Okay.